This video could go terribly wrong, so please hear my heart on this. As someone who has lived, married, and raised a family in the hood for the last few years, here's some of my takeaways that I think are critically important to people who don't live in similar situations. Hello, sinners, saints, my fellow ribs and the glories of men. Welcome back to another video. We are in our new house, and I am so thankful for God and His provision in this time, because it really has been quite the step up. And honestly, I'm in complete shock with the difference in worlds that I've experienced over the last few days. And I wanted to bring some of those reflections to permanency, because I think they're important for not only myself to think about, but for other people to consider. I think there's a lot of people who like making idealistic policies and having very idealistic worldviews without actually understanding the situations to which they're speaking to and the people that they're trying to affect. And I wanted to be a little bit, pretty brutally honest in what it's like in the hood. And I'm going to use that word because it's a very dangerous area filled with very dangerous people, and filled with a lot of good people as well, people trying to make their way, but not as many as ideal. Now, I must say, I spent time throughout my childhood living in very dangerous areas and suburbs, so I'm not a princess when it comes to this, but being a parent and being aware as an adult, I think serves a different purpose and function and reality, especially as you're trying to raise a kid in such an area. So here are some of my 3 takeaways from living in the hood. Number 1, stereotypes exist for a reason, and I mean that in the truest, most extreme sense of the word. You don't go out after night. It's dangerous. You don't go to the train station at all, ideally. We were hosting international students for a little while, and they wouldn't listen to me on this topic, and they went to the train station, and they had a used wrapper that you use for thrown at them. Another girl, of course, didn't listen to me on this either, and she was almost abducted. And so stereotypes exist for a reason. On top of that, not only avoiding the train station, but avoiding buses, public transport. It's what low-income people use to be able to transit, and you don't want to be in those scenarios and situations lest something goes wrong. It is loud all of the time. People are playing stereos, boom boxes, speakers, they're playing out of their phone, they're hooning down the street. It's exhausting and it really weighs on you. You avoid certain streets, use a crime map to determine how you're getting home, because there's certain places where you do not want to be caught at the end of a cul-de-sac. Honestly, lean into your gut instinct. Is a man walking by himself? That's an issue. Is it a man of a certain race and certain look? That's an even bigger issue. Carry a weapon with you. I know it's Australia, and unfortunately we're not allowed guns for self-defense, which I think is incredibly stupid, and I've been radicalized on that position since living in the hood. Carry something. Oh no, I happen to have a box cutter in my pram. Oh no, this screwdriver just happened to be here while we were doing some construction. It's really important to be able to defend oneself if it comes down to it. Another thing, always being intentional in carrying something bulky, whether that's like a tin or reinforced water bottle, because you don't know the type of dogs that you're going to come across. And yes, I've had to swing that thing. Make sure it has a good handle too. Never look people in the eye. Unless they're a couple, unless they look all right, and usually have to be white on top of that. Anyone else you're going to want to avoid looking at. Don't make prolonged eye contact. Just avoid and dip slightly. You will get followed home. So no multiple routes. There has been so many times that I've had to take different streets or different ways or loop back because I was certain that I was being followed. And that's just a reality of living in the hood. That's just a reality of living in a place like that. And it's exhausting and it weighs on you a lot. Number 2. Money's not going to solve the issues. Even with fantastic programs, and I enlisted in some of these programs because I was going through some really dark times, and they were fantastic and super helpful. Even with the really great programs, because they lack marketing, often don't get off the ground. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of attendance because people don't want to change. People are surrounded by people that are similar to them. And that becomes so much harder to change, to break free from, or just even have a different mentality about. Over my time there, I saw how much money got poured by the council into that area. There was a multi-million-dollar new playground put in, beautiful playground. But within like a week, it was already fully graffitied. There was a new dog park put in, phenomenal. And in the final week that we were there, the signs for it got thrown into the river. People don't care. And a certain type of people doesn't care about their circumstances and living situation. And as a result, bring it on other people. And yes, I recognize the fact that there is a select few amount of people who really benefit from these programs and given the opportunity would really flourish. I think the effort should be focused there because a spray and pray approach and trying to improve the whole community ends up wasting a lot of money. And that brings me to this situation where I don't know if there is a solution except for one thing. And this is my final point, number 3. They're in desperate need of the gospel. Now, everyone outside of Christ desperately needs the gospel, of course. But I'm talking if you wanted to see radical change in someone's life, let the gospel permeate such a life. I think it's almost obscene that we spend so much money, focus, effort, chatter, talking about international missions. And yes, there is a place for international missions and missions giving, but often we neglect our own neighbour and leave them to the state to deal with. The state that ultimately doesn't have any solutions outside of Christ. And you can tell in the atmosphere because despite having all this money poured into it and looking fractionally better over the time that I was there, it felt even more hopeless. I was thankful to be able to really meet with people in the community and really get to hear and understand their stories and just interact with them and get a real different worldview. Feels like different planets, but it really broke my heart. And ultimately, I'm glad for my time that I've spent there. And I will pray because places like that need a lot of prayer. But yeah, that's all for today. Grace and peace from our Lord and Saviour, and I'll see you tomorrow.